right, everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we dig into some really cool content that can help you level up your skills and knowledge.
And this time around, we are diving into a topic that's been generating a lot of buzz lately: healthcare virtual assistants.
Yes. And to guide us through this deep dive, we're turning to Doc's VA podcast, created by Neil, a registered nurse and mental health clinic practice manager right here in North Carolina.
Now, Neil knows his stuff, combining practical experience with a passion for helping aspiring HVAs thrive.
He's got that insider's perspective that is so valuable.
Definitely.
In this particular episode 2 of his podcast, he focuses on one of the biggest challenges for any HVA: landing those coveted clients.
Because let's face it, you can have all the skills in the world, but if you can't find clients, you're not going to get very far.
Right. It's like having a shiny new car, but no road to drive it on.
Okay, I like that analogy.
So before we get into the specifics of Neil's strategies, let's quickly define what a healthcare virtual assistant actually does for anyone who might be new to this whole world.
Okay. In a nutshell, an HVA provides administrative, technical, and sometimes even clinical support to healthcare providers, helping them streamline their operations and free up their time to focus on patient care.
It's like having a super efficient sidekick who handles all the behind-the-scenes tasks so that the healthcare provider can be a superhero for their patients.
Perfect way to put it.
And the best part is, it's a field that's exploding with opportunities right now.
Definitely.
With the rise of telehealth and the increasing demands on healthcare providers, the need for skilled HVAs is only going to continue to grow.
Okay, so now that we've set the stage, let's dive into Neil's 4 main paths to landing clients: networking, cold outreach, freelance platforms, and VA agencies.
All right, 4 distinct approaches. Which one are you most curious about, listener? Drop us a comment and let us know.
Yeah, I am also curious about the listeners' opinions.
I'm feeling a little pulled towards the networking side of things. It just seems like such a natural way to build connections and get your name out there.
I agree. Networking is all about building relationships. And in the HVA world, those relationships can be gold.
Now, Neil really emphasizes the power of online communities and forums where healthcare professionals and other virtual assistants hang out.
Those are prime spots to connect with potential clients, learn from industry experts, and stay up to date on the latest trends.
It's like having a virtual water cooler where you can chat with colleagues, share ideas, and maybe even land a gig or two.
I like that.
But Neil also stresses that it's not enough to just lurk in the shadows, reading posts and not engaging.
Oh, definitely not. You need to be an active participant in the conversation.
Right. Comment on posts, share your expertise, ask thoughtful questions, and be a genuine part of the community.
It's all about showing up consistently, being helpful, and demonstrating your value.
Exactly. Now, it's not just about online communities, is it? Neil also recommends attending virtual events like webinars and conferences as prime networking opportunities.
Think about it. These are events where healthcare professionals are already gathered to learn and grow. It's like a target-rich environment.
It's networking on steroids. You're surrounded by potential clients and industry experts.
Okay, and you never know who you might bump into or what connections you might make.
Exactly. It's all about putting yourself out there and building those relationships.
Okay, I like that.
So, we've got networking down. What's next on our list?
Next up, we're diving into the world of cold outreach, which, let's face it, can feel a bit daunting for some people.
Ooh, cold outreach. It gives me the chills just thinking about it.
I hear you. It can feel intimidating, but Neil breaks it down in a way that makes it much more approachable.
I'm all ears.
His key advice is to think of cold outreach more as a targeted introduction, not some sleazy sales pitch.
Right. It's about reaching out to specific individuals or practices that align with your skills and expertise.
And crafting a compelling message that showcases how you can benefit them, how you can solve a specific problem that they might be facing.
It's all about demonstrating value and making it clear that you're not just spamming them with a generic message.
Right.
Okay, so personalization is key. What else does Neil recommend?
He really emphasizes the importance of targeting the right audience.
Yeah, it's like shooting an arrow. You want to make sure you're aiming at the right target.
Exactly. So who might be the ideal target for a healthcare virtual assistant? Well, Neil suggests focusing on healthcare providers or clinics who are most likely to need your services.
I'm thinking smaller practices, solo practitioners, maybe those who are just starting out and haven't had the chance to build a big team.
Right, those who might not have the resources or bandwidth for a full-time in-house staff, but desperately need administrative support.
What's next on our HVA client landing adventure?
Next, we're venturing into the wild world of freelance platforms, those online marketplaces where HVAs can connect with potential clients from all over the globe.
Oh, yes. So much potential, but also,
A bit overwhelming at times.
oh, definitely. It's like stepping into a bustling bazaar with a million different stalls all vying for your attention.
And it can be tough to stand out from the crowd.
Exactly. That's why Neil emphasizes the importance of creating a stellar professional profile, one that makes you shine brighter than a disco ball.
Okay, I love that image. He says you want your profile to be the dazzling after picture that makes people say, wow, I need that in my life.
Right, it's like those before and after home makeover shows. You want your profile to be the one that makes people gasp in amazement. So it's all about showcasing your skills, experience, and personality in a way that's both professional and engaging.
And don't forget those all-important testimonials and reviews.
Oh yes, social proof is everything these days. It's like building street cred in the HVA world.
It shows potential clients that you're the real deal, that you've got the skills and experience to deliver the goods.
Okay, so you've got your knockout profile. What's next? Do you just sit back and wait for the offers to roll in?
Not quite. Neil recommends starting with smaller projects to build your portfolio and rack up those positive reviews.
Ah, the classic start small and build your way up approach.
Exactly. It's a great way to gain experience, hone your skills, and build a reputation for reliability and quality.
And those glowing reviews will speak for themselves when you're ready to land those bigger clients and command higher rates.
Right, it's all about building momentum and establishing yourself as a go-to HVA in your niche.
Okay, so we've explored networking, cold outreach, and freelance platforms.
3 down, 1 to go.
What's our final destination on this HVA client landing quest?
Now, for our final approach, we're tackling a decision point that many aspiring HVAs grapple with, VA agencies versus going solo as an independent contractor.
Ah, the classic entrepreneur's dilemma. Freedom and flexibility versus the support and structure of an agency. It's a tough one. What are your initial thoughts on this, listener? Are you team independence or team agency? Drop us a comment below.
I'm also curious about what the listeners have to say on that.
Neil breaks down the pros and cons of each path beautifully, pulling from his own experiences and offering valuable insights for anyone trying to make this decision.
Let's start with the independent route. It's all about being your own boss, setting your own hours, choosing your clients, and calling the shots.
Ah, the allure of freedom and autonomy. I can already feel the entrepreneurial spirit surging through me.
But that freedom also comes with a whole lot of responsibility.
Oh yeah, there's always a catch, isn't there?
Right. You're not just a healthcare virtual assistant anymore. You're also a business owner.
Oh, I see.
You're responsible for finding clients, managing contracts, handling finances, paying your own taxes, marketing yourself, the whole shebang.
So maybe it's not all sunshine and roses.
It's a trade-off. You're gaining freedom, but also taking on a whole mountain of new responsibilities.
Right, it's like trading a boss for a whole to-do list of entrepreneurial tasks.
Exactly. And for some people, that's exhilarating. For others, it's terrifying.
It all depends on your personality, your risk tolerance, and your overall goals.
And that's why it's so important to really weigh the pros and cons before making a decision.
All right, so we've explored the independent route. What about the agency side of things?
Now, on the agency side, you might have less control over your schedule and the types of clients you work with, but you gain a certain level of stability and support that can be invaluable, especially when you're just starting out.
Yeah, I can see that being a huge draw for someone who's, dipping their toes into the HVA world for the first time.
It's like having training wheels while you're learning to ride the entrepreneurial bike.
Oh, I love that. And what are some of the specific benefits that agencies often provide?
Well, they often have established relationships with healthcare providers, so you don't have to go out there and hustle for clients on your own.
That takes a lot of pressure off.
It does. And agencies often provide additional perks like training programs, access to industry tools and resources, and even a steady stream of clients.
It's like having a built-in safety net.
You're not out there completely on your own.
Okay, so let's say someone is leaning towards the agency route. What advice does Neil have for choosing the right one? It's got to be more than just picking a name out of a hat, right?
Oh, definitely not. Neil emphasizes the importance of doing your due diligence.
Yeah, it's a big decision.
It is.
So you want to make sure you're choosing an agency that aligns with your values and your goals.
Precisely. And he also stresses the importance of really digging into the agency's terms and conditions.
The fine print.
Yes, exactly. How do they assign clients? What's their fee structure like? What level of support do they offer? All those nitty-gritty details matter.
Because it's like signing a lease. You want to read everything carefully before you commit.
Right. And he even suggests considering a trial period with an agency, if possible, to make sure it's a good fit before jumping in with both feet.
That's such a smart move. It's like a test drive for your HVA career.
I like that.
Okay, so we've explored networking, cold outreach, freelance platforms, and VA agencies.
That covers all four main paths Neil outlines for landing clients.
But there's so much more to being a successful HVA than just getting your foot in the door, right?
Oh, absolutely. And Neil delves into everything from different employment models and legal considerations to specific tasks and skills that are essential for HVA success.
All right, color me intrigued. Let's dive into some of those finer points.
Sounds good. Let's start with employment models. Neil outlines three main options: full-time employment, part-time roles, and of course, freelancing, which we've already touched on.
Those are pretty much the standard options across most industries these days. It's all about finding the right balance between stability and flexibility.
Exactly. Full-time employment offers the most stability with a consistent paycheck, benefits like health insurance and retirement plans, and maybe even paid time off.
Okay, that sounds pretty good, but I'm guessing there's a trade-off.
There is. It comes with less flexibility in terms of working hours and the level of control you have over your workday.
Right, it's the classic trade-off.
Yeah.
You're gaining security, but sacrificing a bit of autonomy. What about part-time roles? Those seem like a happy medium for some folks.
Part-time gigs are great if you're looking for something in between.
Okay.
You get more flexibility with your schedule, maybe some benefits depending on the employer, but you're not fully immersed in the entrepreneurial deep end.
Okay, and then there's freelancing, which we've already explored in depth. It's the ultimate freedom, but also the ultimate responsibility.
It's all about finding what aligns with your personal goals and priorities. Are you craving the predictability of a steady paycheck and benefits? Or do you thrive on the freedom and flexibility of setting your own schedule and choosing your clients?
Right, it's a big decision, no doubt about it. Now, Neil also emphasizes the importance of understanding the legal nuances of being an HVA, particularly when it comes to choosing between employment and contracting.
This is so crucial, especially when it comes to things like taxes and contracts.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Taxes first.
Okay.
What are the key differences for employees versus independent contractors?
For employees, it's pretty straightforward. Okay.
Your employer withholds taxes from your paycheck. You might even have access to tax-advantaged retirement accounts.
Right. Makes sense.
With contracting, though, you're responsible for handling all of that yourself.
So it's like stepping into the role of your own personal finance department.
It definitely requires a higher level of financial literacy and organization.
Okay.
Independent contractors need to be diligent about tracking their income and expenses, calculating and paying their taxes, and understanding self-employment tax obligations, which can be a bit tricky.
It's a whole other level of responsibility that many people don't fully grasp until they're, staring down a stack of tax forms.
I know, right?
And then there's the whole world of contracts, which can feel like a minefield, especially for first-time contractors.
Oh, tell me about it. Contracts can be intimidating.
They are. They're full of legalese and fine print.
Right.
What are some key things that aspiring HVAs need to know about navigating the contract maze? Well, Neil emphasizes the importance of understanding the scope of work, payment terms, deadlines, and any other details that impact your working relationship with a client.
Okay.
And he's a big proponent of having everything clearly outlined in a written contract to avoid any misunderstandings or disputes down the road.
It's like having a roadmap for your working relationship.
Exactly.
It sets clear expectations and helps prevent those, wait, what was I supposed to be doing moments.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to legal protections, employees typically have more safeguards in place.
Okay.
They're covered by things like minimum wage laws, overtime regulations, and protections against wrongful termination or discrimination.
Those are pretty essential protections.
Yeah.
What about independent contractors? Are they just out there on their own with no safety net?
Not necessarily. There are still laws and regulations in place that protect independent contractors, but they're not as robust as those for employees. So it's crucial for independent contractors to understand their rights and responsibilities under the law and to be proactive about protecting themselves.
That sounds like a good cue to consult with a lawyer or legal professional who specializes in independent contractor agreements. Better to be safe than sorry.
I totally agree. It's an investment in your peace of mind and the long-term success of your business.
Okay, Shifting gears a bit, Neil spends a good chunk of this episode diving into one of the core skills that any aspiring HVA needs to master: inquiry handling.
Inquiry handling.
Yeah,
Right.
inquiry handling.
Okay.
It sounds pretty self-explanatory. You're basically handling inquiries from clients or patients.
Mm-hmm.
What's so special about it?
Well, it's not just about answering emails or picking up the phone.
Okay.
It's about navigating communication across various channels. Phone calls, emails, chats, even social media, and doing it in a way that represents the healthcare provider professionally and empathetically.
I see. It's about being the voice of the practice, making sure that every interaction is positive and helpful,
Yeah.
and reflects the values and professionalism of the healthcare provider.
Exactly. And Nidhi provides some excellent advice on how to excel at inquiry handling.
All right, lay it on me.
He breaks it down into 3 key areas: communication role-playing, developing scripts and templates, and of course, active listening.
Role-playing. Is this like back in high school drama class?
Not quite, but the principle is similar.
Okay.
It's about simulating real-life scenarios that an HVA might encounter
Okay.
so that you can practice your responses and build confidence in handling different types of inquiries.
Oh, I like that. So you might role-play a patient calling to schedule an appointment, or someone emailing with a billing question, or even a potential client reaching out through social media.
Exactly. And it's not just about practicing your responses, it's also about adapting your communication style to different personalities and situations.
Oh, that's so important.
It is. Some people might be very direct and to the point, while others might need a more empathetic and gentle approach.
It's like learning to speak multiple languages, but for communication styles.
Oh, I love that. It's so true.
And role-playing can also help you prepare for those dreaded, difficult conversations that we all try to avoid.
Oh, yeah, those are never fun, but they're bound to happen.
They are.
So I guess it's better to practice beforehand than to be caught off guard in the heat of the moment.
Okay, role-playing is starting to sound less like a drama class nightmare and more like a superpower in disguise.
It really is. Now, let's move on to Neil's second piece of advice for inquiry handling: developing scripts and templates for common inquiries.
Oh, this is where things get organized and efficient. I'm a big fan of systems and templates. They can be such time savers.
They're lifesavers for sure. Imagine having a go-to script for confirming appointments, a standard email template for welcoming new clients, or even pre-written responses for frequently asked questions that pop up on social media.
It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
And it ensures consistency in communication, too. Everyone is getting the same clear, accurate information. But it's important to remember that these are just starting points, right?
Yeah.
You still need to personalize your responses and adapt them to the specific context of each inquiry.
Absolutely.
You don't want to sound like a robot. You still need that human touch.
Absolutely. It's about striking that balance between efficiency and personalization. A patient calling with a personal health concern requires a different tone than someone simply inquiring about office hours.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's about being adaptable and responsive.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm curious about how often these scripts and templates should be updated. Do you just set them and forget them? Or is it an ongoing process?
It's definitely an ongoing process. Healthcare practices are constantly evolving, so it's essential to review and update your scripts and templates regularly to reflect any changes in policies, procedures, or services offered by the practice.
Okay, so it's like keeping your communication toolbox up to date with the latest and greatest tools.
Exactly. Now, let's circle back to a skill that we've touched on briefly, but that deserves even more attention: active listening. Neil emphasizes that this is a non-negotiable for any HVA, especially those working in the mental health field.
We've talked about active listening on the deep dive before, and it's definitely a foundational skill for effective communication. But why is it particularly crucial for HVAs in mental health?
Well, remember, we're dealing with a field where people are often sharing sensitive information, feeling vulnerable, and seeking support.
It's a whole different level of sensitivity than, say, scheduling a routine checkup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Active listening is about truly focusing on the speaker, understanding their message, and responding thoughtfully. It's not about formulating your response while the other person is talking or jumping in with solutions before they've even finished expressing their concerns.
Right. It's about being fully present in the moment
Yeah.
and making the other person feel heard and understood.
Precisely. And by mastering this art, you'll set yourself apart as an exceptional communicator and build stronger relationships with both clients and the mental health professionals you support.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah.
It seems like so much of being a successful HVA, especially in the mental health field, comes down to those soft skills: empathy, active listening, the ability to build rapport and create a supportive environment.
You're absolutely right. Those skills are just as important, if not more so, than the technical skills like scheduling appointments or managing emails.
Hmm.
They're the foundation of building trust, creating positive experiences, and ultimately making a meaningful impact in the lives of the people you serve.
Now, Neil also highlights that active listening isn't just about building rapport, it's also a powerful tool for avoiding misunderstandings, which can be especially critical in healthcare.
Oh, that's a great point. In healthcare, even seemingly small miscommunications can have significant consequences.
So how can active listening help prevent those slip-ups?
Well, it starts with paying attention to both verbal and nonverbal cues. Listen not only to the words someone is saying, but also to their tone of voice, their pace, and any underlying emotions they might be conveying.
It's like reading between the lines, so to speak.
Exactly. And if something is unclear, or you sense there might be a misunderstanding brewing, don't hesitate to ask clarifying questions.
Oh, I've been there. It's so much easier to just nip a misunderstanding in the bud right from the start.
Exactly. Now, Neil also emphasizes that active listening isn't about formulating your response while the other person is still talking.
Yeah.
It's about truly absorbing what they're saying, processing it, and then responding thoughtfully.
It's about being fully present in the conversation, not just waiting for your turn to speak.
Precisely. By truly listening, you demonstrate respect, build rapport, and gain a deeper understanding of the person's needs. And that's what allows you to provide truly exceptional service as an HVA.
So, listener, as you continue to explore the world of HVAs, remember that effective inquiry handling is a delicate dance between preparation, practice, and a genuine commitment to understanding the needs of those you serve.
And by embracing these principles, you'll be well on your way to thriving in this rewarding and ever-evolving field.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive. We've been exploring this really cool podcast, Doc's VA podcast, led by Neil, a registered nurse and mental health clinic practice manager. He's been sharing his expertise on becoming a healthcare virtual assistant.
And in this final part of our deep dive, we're going to zero in on a topic that's close to Neil's heart: supporting mental health professionals.
I'm really interested to hear more about what sets this area apart. What makes working as an HVA for mental health professionals different from other healthcare specialties?
Well, one of the most striking differences is the level of sensitivity involved.
Okay, I could see that.
Mental health professionals are dealing with deeply personal issues on a daily basis, and the administrative tasks can involve sensitive information that requires a high degree of discretion and empathy.
Right, it's not just about scheduling appointments or managing emails.
No, not at all. Imagine managing client intake forms, for instance.
Okay.
These forms often delve into a client's mental health history, trauma experiences, even suicidal ideation. You wouldn't typically encounter that in a general practice.
Wow, that's a whole different level of responsibility.
Absolutely. It takes a special kind of HVA to handle that kind of information with the care and respect it deserves.
It sounds like this niche requires a unique blend of, like, head and heart.
Yeah. You need the practical skills, but also the empathy and emotional intelligence to navigate sensitive situations.
Right, right. Now, Neil also talks about understanding different therapeutic approaches when working with mental health professionals. What does he mean by that?
Well, just as there are different medical specialties, there are different schools of thought in mental health.
Nope.
An HVA who understands those will be a better asset to their clients.
So, like, if I'm working with a therapist who specializes in CBT, I might need a basic understanding of how CBT works.
That's a great example. You might be creating worksheets or tracking client progress using CBT-specific tools.
Got it.
Similarly, an HVA working with a trauma-informed therapist needs to understand the sensitivities involved in working with clients who've experienced trauma.
Makes sense. So it's about supporting your client in a way that aligns with their specific approach.
Precisely. And that knowledge not only makes you more effective, but also builds trust between you and the mental health professional.
Okay, beyond therapeutic approaches, what are some other must-have skills or qualities for HVAs in mental health?
Well, strong communication skills are at the top of the list, especially active listening and empathy.
We talked about active listening before, but it seems even more crucial here.
Absolutely. You're often dealing with people in vulnerable situations.
Right.
An HVA who can truly listen and validate feelings will be invaluable.
It's about creating a safe space, even from an administrative standpoint.
Exactly. And you know what else Neil emphasizes? Self-care.
Oh, self-care. Why is that so important in this field?
Well, mental health work can be emotionally draining.
Mhm.
You're exposed to other people's challenges and trauma.
Right, right.
So it's crucial to prioritize your own well-being.
Okay, so any practical self-care tips?
Neil recommends things like setting boundaries between work and personal time, engaging in activities you enjoy, practicing mindfulness,
Mhm.
and seeking support from friends, family, or even a therapist.
It's a reminder that self-care isn't selfish, it's essential, especially in a field like this.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into the world of healthcare virtual assistants. What are your final thoughts for our listeners who are excited about this career path?
I'd say go for it. It's a dynamic field with so much potential, especially for those who are passionate about supporting healthcare providers.
Whether you're drawn to mental health or other specialties, it's a career that allows you to make a real difference.
And remember, never stop learning, build strong relationships, and prioritize your clients' needs.
Wise words. So listener, as you explore this exciting world, remember this. What unique skills and talents can you bring to this field?
What truly resonates with your values and aspirations?
Dive deeper into those questions, check out Neil's Docs VA podcast for more insights, and connect with us on social media to share your journey. Until next time, happy diving.